Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Commentary Hub's Women's Euros Chat. I'm Nicholas Jones, and with me are Russ, Vernon, and Mike Harniman. How's it going, boys?
All good, thank you, Nicholas. Yourself?
Yes, I'm doing very good, Russ. How are you doing, Mike?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Doing good. Busy week, tiring week, but yeah, all good.
So it's all come down to the Women's Euro final between England and Germany. But before we go into the nitty gritty around that, what a tournament it's been, fellas, and to have it in England. I mean, the last time that the Women's Euros was in England, all the way back in 2005, women's football was of little known quantity in England, and over the past 17 or something years, it's improved dramatically. What improvements do you think has happened over the past 17 something years?
I say that one first, Mike.
Yeah, all right. Cheers, Russ. Thanks, mate. I feel that it's just become more readily available to girls and to younger women. Really, you see a lot of these clubs these days. Even my local club, Stevenage, I've got a women's team who are they were quite successful winning the cups and stuff last year. They got relegated, but they won a trophy. So, and they're building up a good squad really as well and everything like that. So even from the lower levels and those players are able to sort of get more access really to being able to play football now, which, as Ian Wright said the other night, is a massive achievement and a massive thing for girls in this country.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think also with the women's game as well, you can see how it's grown because the WSL wasn't on TV when it first started, and now it's been broadcasted on terrestrial TV as well as where you need to pay for it as well. We'll mention the channels there, but they are doing some good coverage now with the women's game. And obviously, last season, Nicholas, obviously yourself covered a few women's Super League games. We've had JB cover one or two. I think I've covered one. Mike, I'm not sure, but you may have covered one or two matches or been involved in the chat. Been involved in the chat while it's been while the commentary's been going on, just to put your points on the games going across. So we've had a number of coverages of the women's game this season, so you can see how well it's grown. Where we newly formed up and coming channel, only going over a year, is now taking a step to fetch women's football, not just the Euros but the World Cup qualifiers that you've done, Nicholas, and WSL to an all new level, and the Euros has been absolutely fantastic. You've just got to look at the England game the other night on Tuesday night when that young girl was dancing.
Yeah, it was
Sweet Caroline, and then
lovely sight.
And then one of the terrestrial TV channels, which I won't name, was broadcasting the coverage. She was on the TV last night and got 2 tickets for the final, which I think she's looking forward to as well.
She was on the Lionesses, did a chat today with Ellen White and Beth Mead, I think, and they've given her a signed shirt from the Lionesses for this squad as well. So she's literally getting lots and lots of attention, and she seems to be getting a lot of accolades as well, and rightfully so for her involvement in that. And that's the passion of girls in football, and you could see it there from a girl. I'm not too sure how old she is, but from a very young age, anyhow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing I should mention is that in the 2005 Euros in England, the home nation actually didn't get beyond the group stage.
Yeah.
But what a difference! What a difference many years make. In the final against Germany, the first time they've been in the Euro final since 2009. But we'll get onto that later. First of all, we'll talk about England in the group stage. They started with a bang against Austria. They completely destroyed Norway, and and also equally thrashed Northern Ireland. What a superb performance by the Lionesses.
Yeah,
Go on,
absolutely, Nicholas. You can see how Serena Wiegman has got this group of players who were under the previous manager, who were down on confidence. Some would maybe say that me being one of them, down on confidence under the previous manager, and under Serena Wiegman, you can see a new lease of life, and under a tutorship, whichever country she's been at, is back-to-back finals in the European
Yeah.
Championships with Netherlands and now with the Lionesses.
Mhm.
And said, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was after the Norway 8-0 game or earlier on in the tournament on another YouTube channel in the comments, that this is the best football I've seen England play in the women's game in my lifetime, and I'm only 30 right now. So this is since I've been watching football since 2000, 2001, and under Serena Wiegman, where we're playing, I can't see England losing any time soon under Serena Wiegman. We've had some tests along the way in the quarterfinals, then in the semi-final, which we'll come on to a little bit later on. But the group stage, especially that Norway game, everyone was saying Norway was going to be a tough, tough game for the Lionesses, and we just tear them apart and blew them away.
Breezed it. Yeah.
Breezed it quite comfortably. And one player who's been a thorn in people's sides that whoever we've come up against in the competition so far is Beth Mead, and up there for the Golden Boot in Sunday's final up against Linda Pop of Germany, which we'll touch upon later when we discuss the final in more detail a little bit later on. He's going to be those two players, and Beth Mead has lit up this. And I can't forget Georgia Stanley after that superb goal in the quarter-finals
We'll talk about that in
to
a minute,
get us
but wow.
there as well. We'll talk about that game a bit more detail in that goal in more detail a bit later on. But that was a superb goal. Been some superb performances from the Lionesses, and to say that we've kept the unchanged side throughout the tournament so far, and teams are trying to work out a system, work out a style to be that. And we're still in the final, and we're now in the final. It proves that Serena Wiegman has got ideas across there and got game changers on the bench like Alessia Russo, Ella too, players like that who can come on and impact the game, which is good to see for the Lionesses.
Yeah, I just want to add to that as well. What you're saying there, Russ. Obviously, the attack were lethal and brutal, really, in front of goal in those games. You know, the three group games, but clean sheet as well, which shows the likes of Leah Williamson and Millie Bright and Mary Earps, etc., are doing their job as well, because 3 clean sheets and you're able to build from the back, which is always a good thing. And then when you've got the likes of Beth Mead and Ellen White, they're always a danger as well to any opposition, whoever you're coming up against.
Yes, and just to point out as well, when you just mentioned Ellen White there, Mike, I forgot to mention it earlier on, and with the goal that she's on, she could end up getting past Wayne Rooney's record
at the weekend,
with the weekend in the final, and that would be some achievement for her, being second all-time leading goal scorer for England in all competition, overall in both men's and women's, to be she's the leading women's scorer right now, and could overtake Wayne Rooney in the all-time one, men and women's, which would be a great achievement for her. And also, just going back to the women's game in general, you can see how big it's come on, because in the past few gaming stuff out there, FIFA, WSL's not been on it, but the one coming out later this year, FIFA 23.
I think last year it was on last year's, I believe, as well, wasn't it? I think, yeah.
WSL wasn't. The women's national teams have been on them in past nationals, but you can see how the game's evolved. Now the WSL is going to be on the new FIFA gaming.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's very good, and it just shows how much that the game is growing, really. And I mentioned it to you. I think it might have been last night. We were looking through Arsenal's fixtures for the Arsenal women as well, and they're in the Champions League for this coming season. Yeah, there is an Arsenal team that can get Champions League football. It might not be the men's, but that's a different story for a different day. But when it comes down to it, a lot of those games are going to be played at the Emirates as well, and some of the WSL games are going to be played at the Emirates as well. So they're going to be playing in front of potentially 60,000 people, which is, they're playing at men's grounds now. Yes, it might be Sheffield United, MK Dons, etc., but 60,000 people, which is huge, isn't it, for women, to be playing on that kind of stage, the same stage that the men are playing on as well.
That has been a really big move for women's football, but that's something that can be discussed another time, I'm sure. But also, but in the quarterfinals, they very nearly lost it against Spain. But somehow they managed to turn things around.
Yeah, and it was a really good comeback as well. It looked like it was about 84 minutes. It looked like Spain were going to go through and get the job done and win that one. But it was a fantastic comeback. Obviously, Russ mentioned the second goal. Who was it that scored the first goal? Was it Ella Toon that got the first goal?
Ella Toon got the first one, Mike, and then Georgia Stanway with the second, with that thunderbolt of the
she
second.
obviously came off the bench and changed the game as well, which was a massive thing for her and a big part that she played in the game there, getting the equalising goal, and then that goal in extra time. The more you see that goal, the more you want to watch it, the better it looks as well. It was a fantastic hit and a goal worthy of winning any game as well.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And also I saw the goal for that Georgia Stanway scored from behind the net as well, and you could see as soon as she struck it, that it was always going to go into
straight away. It
corner.
into that corner.
You know straight away as soon as she struck it in. Just going back to that quarter-final game, and Nicholas, obviously, you did the commentary for the TC of that game, and fantastic commentary as well, especially on that winning goal. All been brilliant commentaries that you've done, Nicholas, in the tournament, and I've done a couple of matches in the tournament which I've enjoyed doing, especially
last night on
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night's one that you did was good as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed
Wednesday night, which we'll touch on Germany-France game as well. And
and
speaking of France, I've seen them in the tournament, all their games now, including Wednesday night's match, and that was a fantastic. France have performed some fantastic football, and they bring some fantastic fans to every single stadium they go to, and that it was none other than last night. Great numbers at World Rooms New York Stadium early throughout the competition, including the quarter-final game, plus then good numbers from what I saw on the TV during the commentary on Wednesday.
Because you've actually went to quite a few of the games as well, haven't you? You've actually been to 5.
I've been to all of the France group matches and the France quarter-final, so I've seen, and I actually went to Switzerland, Netherlands as well, which was good to be at Bramall Lane, which was good to be there as well. But I've been to see a few of the games in the flesh, and it's been a good tournament, as you mentioned earlier, Nicholas. And I can't wait for the final now. A repeat of the 1966 final when in the World Cup in the men's. When England
imagine that. But we should also spare a thought for the Netherlands, because throughout the tournament their squad was somewhat depleted, and to rub salt into the wounds, Mika Martins was forced out due to a foot injury. So I'd say it was probably just bad luck that forced the Netherlands out.
Yeah, they had a lot of injury issues
as well, the Arsenal striker, Mike, who's, as you'll obviously know, plays for Arsenal. In the quarter-final, that was the first appearance in the tournament as well.
That's right. I know she hadn't played up until then. Yeah.
Because she was nursing an injury and she was training, but when involved. And I must say, you've seen the video that I took you to in the group chat the other day from that Sunday's quarter-final.
Their fans looked very good.
Their fans were absolutely fantastic. I was walking to the ground with him for the quarter-final, dancing along with him, and saw a few people from TV and the media side as well there. So the good people.
The Dutch are very much like us. They're a very passionate football nation. They love their football. It goes back to years gone by when the men had the likes of Cruyff and Bergkamp and all of that. The likes of Clarence Seedorf and everyone like that.
And even
all of that.
And even in the stands, Mike, they played this song that they were dancing to outside, and all the stadium, all 4 sides of the stadium, in Rotherham on Saturday were bouncing to their chant, children that was dancing outside.
Yeah,
Although I saw a few people who I used to go to school with at that game as well, and they were dancing with them. So really good
nice.
stuff there to dance to. So some good stuff in there as well. And the Netherlands, as you say, Nicholas, very unlucky to be knocked out of the competition in the end, but it was very, very good to see that going how it did in the end move for the Dutch. And unfortunately, they didn't get through to the final or to the
To the semi.
semi-finals, which we're going to, and all the final. And out of a day after they went out, it was gutted to see that they went out after, especially how the fans after that game, how the fans played
Yeah,
a part, and fantastic to be a part of on Saturday, last Saturday when I was going into towards the ground as well. Fantastic to see in and around the town centre where I'm from, Rotherham, where they played France and where France have played their games, and all the people that come across from France to watch the games, all the locals who were supporting those teams really did play a part in all the competition moving forward.
Yes, and a side note before we go on a bit further, even though Italy made the men's final last year, their women's team didn't even get out of the group stage. But that's of little importance. And now, before we go on to the semi-finals, we must talk about England's opponents on Sunday, Germany, completely whitewashed the group stage.
yeah, easy. Again, it was very much like England as well. England obviously won all of their games and didn't concede. Germany as well, and Alexander Pop, they had a massive, massively successful tournament as well so far. Starting in the group stages there with some really big performances and strong results.
Yes, absolutely. And I was looking at that with Germany as well. And up until the semi final, which we'll come on to a little bit later, Germany, like England, hadn't conceded a goal.
Yeah.
England conceded in the quarter final, but until England's quarter final then and conceded. Germany, till the game against France, hadn't conceded. And there was a fantastic performance from Germany throughout the tournament, including the semi final yesterday. On Wednesday, which I covered for the channel, superb performance there. So, really good performance from Germany. We've got some good players in the squad, and it'd be interesting to see how that goes on moving forward and how they cope with the likes of Kira Walsh, Georgia Stanway, players like that, Beth Mead, Ellen White, Lauren M, players like that who can hurt teams on the days as well, and how we defend against Alexandra Pop and some of their big players as well when it comes to the final on Sunday, which we'll sure touch upon in a little while.
Okay. And now we come on to the semi-final on Tuesday. England against Sweden. We thought Sweden would be a tough opposition, and to be fair, they kind of were throughout the first 30 or so minutes. But once Beth Mead got that first goal in, England were just completely on a roll, and Sweden just didn't know what hit them.
Yeah, Russ, do you want to take this one first, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with England, you could see there was some early nerves from Lucy Bronze because they're going almost scored with inside 25 seconds. Did Sweden down England's right-hand side almost scored after Lucy Bronze didn't track her runner, and Mary Ebbs had to make a fantastic save. And then once England got control of the ball, they sort of create a few chances. And then once that, like Nicholas mentioned, that once England got that first goal through Beth Mead, they didn't know how to contain England. England just dominated from there. And that second goal straight after half time, I think that was what put the killer stamp on it and made sure England. And from then you knew England was on the way to the final, shall we say? And then we got there in style. But just before we continue, and before that you come in, Mike, I just want to ask what a fantastic goal it was from Alessia Russo for that third goal.
Can I say one thing before you say about the third goal? That first goal how good was that first touch from Beth Mead as well?
It
I
was
know.
absolutely fantastic, yes. And you can and Ellen White was unlucky within that first goal, Mike, as well, because
Yeah.
wonderful balling from Lauren Emp on that left hand side, and she
Mhm.
just narrowly missed out and just didn't get there to get that touch
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah.
And then, as you see a bit later on, it was very unlucky not to score there in not to score, but then brilliant ball back in from Lucy Bond's first time. And at the time, I was
The
like,
first touch is unreal.
I was
Get started
thinking,
before you watch
it's
that.
too
Yeah.
far, it's too far behind Beth Mead. She's not going to be able to do anything
No.
here.
Yeah.
The next thing
Yeah.
you know, she fetches it down brilliantly, turns on it, just smashes it into the back of the net. But then if we go on to the second goal, was a good header
Yeah.
from Lucy Bronze,
Mm.
definitely onside, no question about not even sure why VAR got
I think,
involved with that.
yeah, that was
And then,
easily
if you go on to the
legitimate.
third,
Yeah.
and then if you go on to the third goal, I was when she missed that
Mm.
simple tap in,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I was saying to my dad, because I was watching it with my dad, I was like, how she missed there? And the next thing I know, both me and my dad just started laughing when she just backheeled it in. And I was watching it afterwards, and I watched the game back later that night
Yeah.
with different coverage of the commentators on and that. And one of the commentators on there was saying how she managed to backheel it through not one but two
Yeah.
players
Yeah.
on and still score, especially and she actually nutmegged the
Lovely, the keeper
goalkeeper
on the way in. Yeah.
and the
Yeah. Yeah.
defender
Yeah.
with a backheel from the
Yeah.
tightest of from which would have been a tighter and just looked as tighter angle. You thought best option were to try and cross it back in, but she just thought I can't score an easy goal against Leeds. I'll just do a cheeky one, and that's what she did with the superb back heel. And then the fourth from Frank Kirby, that was fantastic from Frank Kirby. The chip, I thought the defender, the goalkeeper
It wouldn't look better
didn't know.
if the goalkeeper hadn't got a hand to it and kind of fumbled it over the line. But still, to shoot from there was a real good effort anyway. But it just
And also speaking about
the
England as
goalkeeper.
well, Mike, in that game on Tuesday against Sweden,
Mhm.
every time I'm not sure if you guys did, but I noticed I could hear on the TV when watching the tournament, you could hear the crowd every time Jordan Stanway picked up
Yeah.
the ball, same
Yeah.
distance as Messi
Yeah.
got that
Yeah.
brilliant goal to knock out Spain. All the English fans were shouting "shoot" all the time towards her,
Yeah.
and at that moment I was thinking, don't shoot. You've done it once, it probably won't come off again. Just play the simple pass. And that's what she did. And when she actually scored that superb goal against Spain, I was sat there thinking, do not shoot, you will not score. And the next thing, I'm like,
Proves you wrong.
she's proved me wrong. What a fantastic goal. And that was absolutely fantastic. And we've seen some fantastic goals in the tournament so far. And
Yeah, lots
just
of
before we continue with the England semi-final, Chad there in the chat with against Spain and everything before we move on to the final. Want to ask you, want to ask both of you a question here now. So, question to you as well, Nicholas. From the goals that you've seen in the competition so far, which has been your goal of the tournament? Because for me, I know Georgia Stanway scored that stunning strike to knock out Spain, but for me, after she missed that simple tap in and then scored the back heel, I'm going to give it to Alessia Russo for that cheeky back heel through the two Sweden players, including the goalkeeper on the way in to score. So I'm going to give it to Alessia Russo for that cheeky back heel. But an honourable mention goes to Georgia Stanway. Nicholas, do you want to take this one first, and then we'll come to Mike secondly on that his goal of the tournament? So who's your goal of the tournament, Nicholas?
I'd have to agree with you. With Alessia Russo's backheel pass in towards goal. I mean, I remember saying in commentary that I was describing the look of disbelief on Hedvig Lindahl's face. I mean, I couldn't believe what had happened either. But it just left the Sweden defenders and Lindahl just stunned. But I would also, but I think my second one would have to be that crucial goal by Ella Toone against Spain to get England back into the game. I mean, back into contention, I should say, for the semi-final because after Spain scored in that game, I thought, is this it? Are England on the way out? But Ella Toon, she was just like this. She was just like this saving grace for England, if you were. And Georgia Stanway, the extra time heroine, just completely finished it off. But who would you say? What would you say your goal of the tournament was, Mike?
Oh, I'd have to agree. It sounds very cliche, but I love that Alessia Russo goal. Sorry, as well. The way that the first shot was saved, and then the second was so audacious, and to be honest, it was bordering on cheeky. The way that she, did that from that angle and that position. As Russ said, nutmeg 2 players on the way in, including the goalkeeper, and you can't really look too much further than that. As I said, it was it was one of those ones where you have to look at it, and it's like, did she just try that? Oh wait, it came off. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to add, Nicholas? On the, do you want to move on? Shall we talk about the semi-finals now, Nicholas? Or
we can now move on to the semi-final on Wednesday between Germany and France.
I wanted to mention something on the England game on Tuesday before you did that, if that was all right.
Yeah, go on, Mike.
So it was just, Russ mentioned it before a little bit about Mary Earps's, game on Tuesday night. She was really, 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 really good. Really alert to start off the game. I think it was about 21 seconds in where she made that one.
Yeah, 25 seconds. He counted as 20. I counted it as 25 seconds, Mike, with that save early on.
But then obviously she made another save in the second half as well. I think it was at 2-0 at the time, and that was a really good save as well. But yeah, it was a really good performance from England. Really good finish from Beth Mead. Love that goal. That goal is literally a super, super special talent, and I'm, 95% of me is saying that because I'm an Arsenal fan and she's an Arsenal girl. The 5% is saying it because she's just unreal anyway. Then the second goal, really good corner and delivery, and good header from Lucy Bronze as well. And then we touched on the third goal, and then the fourth goal as well. We've already spoken about a little bit, but yeah, it was a dominant performance really from England. And you said that you thought that Sweden were going to be a difficult sort of team to overcome. I kind of didn't, the way that I'd seen them play in the tournament. They had a few. I think it was the game before, they were a little bit fortunate to get through. They had a sticky game in the quarterfinal, which they just about got through. So I was confident that England would go on and get a. Well, I said 4-0, didn't I, Russ? So
you did, Mike. Yes. Yeah, so you see, I missed it, Mike. So what we'll do before we end this, Nicholas, what we could do, could go around everybody and get a prediction for the final, which is going to be taking place later.
It was funny because after that fourth goal, and England were on the attack, and it was like, don't score a fifth, keep it at 4-0. You had 4-1, didn't you? You said 4-1. I was like, right, keep the clean sheet, keep it tight at the back, keep the clean sheet. 4-0 was good.
Yeah. So shall we move on to the second semi-final, Nicholas, from Wednesday, which I called for the TC Hub?
Yes, please do. Germany against France. Both sides had equally good chances, despite France being the weaker side, having conceded in all but one.
Yeah, I thought that was a very good game. Yeah, go on, Russ.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game. I enjoyed commentating. You could see the France and Germany were battling each other out. I thought before the game, I didn't say it in the commentary, but I thought before the game it was going to be whoever won that midfield battle will go on to win that semi-final on Wednesday night. And you could see that Germany from the first minute was always going to win the semi-final because they were winning the midfield battle quite easily. The German goalkeeper Frooms was unlucky with the French goal as the honor shot it came back off the post and he turned back the legs and went in. She was very unlucky with that one, and both teams have really caused other teams problems when it's been in the past. So it's been some fantastic stuff there. So it should be a very, very good final on Sunday. Both teams doing really well. I gave my player of the match to Lena Oberdorf,
Good.
there was a
Yeah, good
time where
performance.
France were trying to come through the
Yeah.
middle,
Mhm.
and she a midfield partner is side of each other, blocking off the route through to play the ball through from the French midfield to the strikers, and she put out her foot and side footed it clear away in the end, and it was a fantastic performance from her. Alexander Pop was another good shout, which I know you thought that was your player of the match. Nicholas, one of your players. I know that's what Paul James, the contributor to the channel as well, one of our commentators here on the commentary, did as well. So it's a
I
fantastic.
really liked
So that
that
was good to
performance too.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alexander Pop, as I mentioned earlier on in the programme, Alexander Pop and Beth Mead going for the Golden Boot for the weekend. It's going to be interesting to see who scores more goals in this one. I think both of them will get on the score sheet this weekend. So, as you can tell now, I think both will get on the score sheet in the final, which is taking place later. They both will get on the score sheet, and I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a good game. I'll give my score prediction later, but I think it's going to be a good match. Wednesday night was a good match, should I say, and that the semi-final proved to be a good match and a good watch. And it was good to commentate on it. And I think Germany just edged it and just deserved the win. Yes, France have been brilliant in the tournament. We're looking to go out to the semi-final stage. England have known what that's been like recently as well, so it's very interesting to see how things move forward in the final and see who comes out on top. And I think, like I thought for last night, the midfield battle is going to be key. If Kira Walsh can get on the ball and spray it out wide like she has done in previous games, I think England will get the win. If she doesn't get much time and on the ball, I think it could be a long night and could even go the distance to the dreaded P words, which I'm hoping it doesn't from an England point of view. But if
Can I have a pee, please, Russ?
Yeah, I
penalties
know
is what
exactly.
everyone neutral
Yeah.
people would
Can
probably
we
want
not
in the
have that?
final.
Can we not have that? Can we have one final where we don't have to go to penalties? Thanks.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, Mike, I think the neutrals probably wanted to go the distance all the way, but the England fans in us and the England fans and the German fans probably won't want it to go all
I
that
tell
way.
you
They'll
what,
probably
though,
want it to be won
how
in 90
ironic would
minutes,
that
and I
be
think
if
it
go on,
could
yeah.
be won in 90 minutes. If whoever wins the midfield battle will probably do it in 90 minutes, in my opinion.
No, I was just saying, how ironic would that be after the men got to a final at Wembley and lost on penalties? If the girls can get to a final and beat Germany on penalties, that would certainly turn the table on things a little bit.
Yes, it
It
certainly
would,
would.
Mate. Yes,
And,
what would you? Yeah, Matt, what did you think to the semi-final from Wednesday night between Germany and France? Because I know you said earlier that you watched it. What did you
I
think to
did
the
see it, yeah.
semi-final
No, I thought it was a
on
very good
Wednesday
game.
evening?
I really enjoyed the game. I thought Germany played some good football. I really like Alexandra Pop, as I said before. I think she's a real, really, really talented player. Really good, good goal machine, really, as you want to, maybe word it as well. And yeah, I'm really impressed with her this tournament, and I think that she'll have a big say on the final. And I'm not too sure, who it was in particular or anything like that, or if there was anyone in particular. But I really like the way that they got it to 2-1, and France put a lot of pressure on them towards the end of the game, and the German defence stood up to that very well and were able to just hold out and see it through.
Yeah,
Yes.
what did you think to the semi-final between Germany and France on Wednesday, Nicholas?
pretty competitive. Pretty competitive. I thought the first half was sort of mostly was sort of mostly Germany. France did try to get through to get through them, but they were committing far too many fouls, in my opinion, and they were starting to become ragged and sort of lose their cool. But towards the back end of the first half, with their striker, whose name I've forgotten, by the way,
The French striker,
Diani.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it, Diani. When Diani sort of got the ball, was aiming the ball towards goal, I thought, yes, France are starting to regain their composure. Even though
I'm sure France are doing this without one of their key players as well, like Spain were, where they lost a player. I think didn't they lose one of their key players after? I think it's about the second game of the group.
Yes, it was the second group game.
The second group game it was.
Katoto, I think
that's the one. That's the goal.
Katoto.
Yeah.
But in the second half, despite Germany winning that game, France did put them under a bit more pressure. Credit to them for trying to halt the Germany attack, but at the end it just wasn't to be, though. And even they promised they were going to savor every moment of their first Euro semi-finals, because they'd never been beyond the quarterfinals until now. I believe in the last quarterfinals in 2017, I think England beat them that time. But Germany just almost breezed through despite France's advances. So, prediction time for the women's Euro final coming up later today, gentlemen. Who do you pick to win, and what will the score be?
Do you want me to take this one first, Russ?
I'll let you take this one first, mate. Yes.
Well, in the spirit of 1966, I'm going 4-2 to England, because why not? Why not? Why not have the exact same scoreline against the same opposition, and the girls can bring it home for us? I think Ellen White, I thought she was going to score in the last game against Sweden, but I do think she'll have a big part to play in this final. And I hope and I feel that she'll get the goal to take her over Wayne Rooney's record as well. Obviously we've got to be wary of the Germans. Alexander Popp in particular, who's obviously going to have a part to play on that final, and she'll want to grab some goals. But yeah, Russ said it. The midfield's a big game changer, really, and it depends on whether Serena picks the same 11 again, because obviously we've had Rachel Daly play at left back, and she's not a natural left back, so that could be a target for the Germans potentially. But I just feel that England are going to be too strong, and obviously we all know England's record under Serena. It's I think 2 draws and the rest are all wins. So if we can continue that, then yeah, but we'll be coming home at the weekend, or after the next few hours.
Yes,
to a bold choice for a bold prediction from Mike. But what's your prediction, Russ?
I think it's going to be a good game, and like I mentioned earlier, I think whoever's going to win the midfield battle will win this game. I think we will win the midfield battle, we being England. I think we can win that midfield battle. Like, I've seen where there's a few cracks in the German midfield in the games that have played, especially last night. There were a few times where France got through the midfield and rolled the lines quite well and spread the ball out wide, got Grace Guerrero on the ball quite nicely. I think England are going to win this, and I think it's going to be comfortable. And I think both teams will score, though, but I think we're going to win by 3-1 in the final. And I think Beth Mead is going to score 1, Ellen White is going to score 2, and I think for Germany, Pop's going to score their goal, and I think Mead and Pop's going to tie with the golden and get the golden boot, and they'll both share the golden boot later this evening. But we'll soon find out and you can hear the game later this evening with Nicholas Jones on commentary, with John Stuttard presenting as well, and should be a good game to watch. And
what I will say,
if you're watching it, turn down the TV, pick on the pictures, put on Nicholas Jones and listen to his commentary with the TV pictures, and let Nicholas describe the match for you. And you can even sync up your pictures with our commentary, and you can follow us and follow the game every step of the way with England, hopefully lifting up the cup and beating Germany. It's going to be live, and the kick-off is at 5 p.m.
I was just going to
Don't
say,
miss it.
I was going to say two things. First of all, JB, this is a message for you. If England do win it, I want to hear another one of your rants again, please, regarding the Germans, because I quite liked that last time. And secondly, I think it's the German manager's first, or might even be only goal she's ever scored was actually in a game against England as well. So that's obviously something that I think it was 1998, I believe.
95.
95, sorry,
95,
yeah. So that's something that she'll probably be trying to hammer into her team to kind of give them a bit of a advantage, maybe.
Yes, and Nicholas, with you being the main commentator this evening for the match, can I just ask you for your prediction? How do you see this final going? Do you think Lammy and Mike is coming home, or do you think he's going to Munich? Who do you think is going to come out on top in the Women's Euro final later this evening?
England did beat Germany in the Arnold Clark Cup earlier this year, but this is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But in that Arnold Clark Cup game, we did manage to breach Germany's midfield, like Mike mentioned earlier. So England might just edge it a bit. I think the score is going to be pretty close. It might be. I'd say it might be sort of 2-1 or 3-2, but seeing as I'm going to be commentating, that's probably not mine to call. But let's just hope it's not. But one thing for sure, it probably won't be a repeat of the 2009 final back in Helsinki when Germany beat England. Very comfortably, shall we say? And
they said about it.
Side note. Jill Scott is actually the only player in the current England squad who was in the 2009 final. So she could make a sporadic appearance as a substitute. So
she's done that a lot in the tournament. Actually, she's had 4 or 5 sub appearances already, which is a nice touch. And what I was going to say was I feel that, we said it at the start of this, and we can probably end with it as well. The gap between England and Germany compared to what it was is literally very, very marginal now. And whichever way it goes, there won't be an awful lot in it.
Absolutely, Mike. And that's why I'm thinking it'd be a close game. I think it'd be a close game. That's why I'm saying Germany will score, but I think we'll get a 3. And I think Ellen White will break Wayne Rooney's record in goal scoring record this weekend. And wouldn't it be fitting, Mike? I know Beth Mead's going out for the Golden Boot, but wouldn't it be fitting if Ellen White gets all 3 goals in the final and helps England win it and break Wayne Rooney's record in style with a 25-yarder and takes a special from Georgia Stanway and hits it in from 25 yards, be like Stanway did in the quarter-final.
That'd be very nice. Well. It would also be very nice. I know this was mentioned on a podcast that I was watching last night. Cannon Chatter, the Euros that they're doing, the Euro build-up and reviews, etc. One of the guests that was on there, one of the panelists, said it would be lovely if there was an Arsenal captain lifting the trophy at Wembley for England before the Spurs captain. So, Leah, you know what to do.
Yes, right.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Russ and Mike, for joining me in this special chat discussing the Women's Euros and the build up to the final later on.
No worries, mate. It's been good.
As Russ said, join us on the commentary hub at around 4:45 p.m. You can also hear us on the commentary hub too JB Sports, Storm FM, and we're also on our Twitch channel. Will football be coming home on Sunday? As I mentioned, don't you dare miss it. We'll see you then.
Thank you, guys.